Hello and welcome to Decorate It. My name is Mary and this is Wes. And tonight's episode is episode 68. Tonight is all about you guys. Questions and answers. So any of these questions that you may have and anything that is regarding rod building, throw them at us. Let's chit chat. Let's discuss this stuff in real time and get it knocked out. And for any of those that are watching this in the post show after it's been posted on YouTube, if you've got questions, feel free to also put those in the comments and they will be addressed as well.
And also any things in the future that you want to see covered. We're taking this time to make sure to write those down and put them into future shows.
Taking feedback. Where do you guys want, what would help you guys grow as a rod builder with us sharing in the future? Whether it's like through tutorials, like more of the demonstration kind of things, or if it's more on more pictures, more, you know, whatever that kind of stuff, whatever would benefit you, because we're here for you.
Ain't for us.
But that's kind of where we're at with that. So tonight's episode is just Q&A, and we're going to get started on that. Before we jump into all of the questions and stuff that is going to come about, we are going to take a minute and we're going to go ahead. Hold on.
What is all this?
It got out of order.
There we go. Sponsors.
Hold on. We're going to take a minute and we're going to thank our sponsors. Sneak peek. Hopefully y'all didn't really see that. But big thank you to Mudhole and Foundation Outdoor Group. It is a blessing to be working for such an amazing company. And the new discount code has changed. It's now April, which brings on a new discount code. So WRAP10 is the new discount code to be able to get 10% off of American Tackle, Gaho, CRB, Pro Products, MHX, all of that stuff. Get 10% off of it. Use the code. That way it'll save you some money. And also am very excited about going to the Advanced Road Building Seminars in June. So if you guys haven't signed up for that yet, space is limited because they're not going to have as many people join in this time. It's going to be, I think he said 50.
50, maybe 60 or so, but it's less than it was before.
Yeah.
So.
In previous years, they've been taking 75, I think, around in that area. So make sure that you get your tickets because it's in June. So it's middle of summer and you can make a weekend kind of trip out of it because the classes are going to be held Friday and Saturday. There's nothing on Sunday. So if you want to go explore Orlando a little bit or go to Disney Springs or go to actually Disney and make a little fun little trip. Even, what is it, Legoland that's down there?
Dole Whip.
Dole Whip. That's what we go to Disney Springs to get is the Dole Whip and a try on fun hats at that store. We can't buy anything at the Disney stores because they're asking like $300 for like a t-shirt, but it is pretty fun to go there. But make sure that you sign up if you can make it in June. And with that, we're going to get started. Hey, Greg. So happy you joined us. Hey, John. Greg, yes. So the advanced rod building classes are at Mudhole, and that is in June. That's June 13th through the 14th, I think. Is that right?
Yes.
Should know the dates of it, but I think it's the day. It's 2 days before our anniversary.
12th and 13th.
12th and 13th, I'm sorry. So it's June 12th and 13th, that Friday and that Saturday. And they have the tickets available on their website. So you can just go to mudhole.com and look up the Advanced Rod Building Seminars and you can get your ticket and get there. You'll be fed, you'll be taught, you get to shop while you're there. And it's a really awesome, all around fun time. We thoroughly enjoy it. And our children even come now and go fishing in the pond out front. See. Hey, welcome back, Fisher. You're here. Woo. You're welcome, Greg. Duncan, I don't know what's going on, man, but hang out with us on YouTube.
I'm watching on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook. I'm not on YouTube. So I usually do Facebook. He usually does YouTube for some reason. We like to stream it on our phones just in case. So we can see if it cuts out or does anything weird.
Yep.
So Q&A. What questions do you have? What answers can we give you? And all of that jazz. I will say that
things you want to see in the future.
Things that you want us to do in the future.
That maybe you haven't seen other people cover or you want something more in-depth.
Tutorial-wise. I have a bunch of things that I can like actually teach you on the cameras, but I have to invest in a different mic system in order to do that because of every time that we do a tutorial where I go to the wrapper, we have to use the wireless mics and the audio is just awful and there's nothing I can do to fix it. And when we test it prior, it's fine, but when we go live, it just goes awful. It sounds like a robot. And I hate, like, even when I go back to edit the videos to put them out on YouTube, I'm annoyed the whole time because it takes me quite a few days to get it all edited down, especially from 2 hours or whatever that we run the show. And I hate every minute of it. So I'm always apologetic every time I send one out. And I'm like, it's great information. I can't skip it, but it sounds awful. So bear with us. But I'm happy to get different mics to make this work if you guys are more leaning towards like showing the demos and stuff of it. I know personally sometimes watching a demo go live, like the marbling for example, that was the latest one, it can take a long time to sit there and watch it. But the banter going back and forth between Wes or myself and you guys is always, it fills up the time. So we're totally here for it. Yes, the Built to Cast series will come back. I'm not caught up enough to be able to mess with that. We even debated doing the guides on it tonight. But once again, that's the mic drama, and I haven't had a chance to go buy any more mics. So It is what it is. Hey, Travis. Thank you. Anything on the new air carbon mesh from Norfolk Composites?
I've tried it. Yeah. And I was using it testing other products as well. But that is the extent of what I've done with it.
No opinion yet. Let's put it that way.
basically.
One and done. Haven't tried anything past it, and
I was using it to test other products on their capabilities.
it's really quick. Wes had
Super quick.
Wes had all the guides done in like 20 minutes.
10 fly rod guides in 20 minutes. But I wasn't testing the mesh. I was testing other products on the mesh.
So short answer, no opinion on it yet. I saw your video on the 220 heat gun. I'm ashamed to say that when I had that bubble issue, I was using 850 heat gun. Ooh, I was indeed cooking it. Ooh, ooh, hot. Ooh. You was burning it. You was burning it. So we giggle about this because a very, 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 very long time ago, back when we were doing live videos in our Facebook group, the Southern Rod Builders, we used to do them every Friday night. Wes was doing a demo on epoxy.
Not paying attention.
We're talking, just chit chatting. I'm feeding him the comments. He's on the camera, and what'd you do, Wes?
I had it on like as high as possible.
It wasn't the current heat gun.
No, it was an old one. It was like number 2 setting, which is high and fast. And I got it so hot it instantaneously set up and cooked and burnt and started smoking.
He turned it into a paste.
Yeah.
It was so thick. It was like
it instantaneously set up and started smoking.
It was like bread dough, you know, like as it's like starting to get together, like just the thickness of it. And we laughed so hard about it because he cooked it. He just burned it slap up. So, and the reason why I made that little short little blip in the video about the 220 is I've had people argue with me about the number. And I'm like, guys.
She does 220, I do 200. But she does 220 2 speeds faster than I do.
But you also do 180. The goal of it is just to blow enough hot air at it that it's going to pop the bubbles without speeding up the curing process, without burning the epoxy, without moving it around. That's not the goal. The goal was just to get a blast of heat on it so the air bubbles go poop.
Yep.
That's it. But I made that little short blip about it because people were arguing about the temperature. Well, you don't have to have it that hot. Guys, you don't have to use it. 220 is just my magic number. 200, 180. He's done it in 180 before.
But I always do lower speeds so that it's technically a little warmer than the 180, 200.
Because he goes slower when he does his. I go hot, fast, and keep it moving. We're different. Everybody should be a little different. But
hold on.
You good?
Apparently there's pollen.
You take your medicine today?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, how to prepare rattle skin from package to rod.
Good video. Good topic to do. Write that down.
Do you want that answered, or is that for future? How we're supposed to do it?
It'd be a good topic to do, like either a podcast or tutorial on.
I will say that
because it's not something that is technically quick if you want every step.
Yeah. I've seen winding checks out of wood, but how about EVA? Will it work or break apart? You could make them out of EVA. The thing is with the with EVA, EVA will soak up epoxy super fast, right? So if the epoxy touches your EVA winding check, it's now going to surge into the EVA. So I don't like to even get EVA close to epoxy. But with these larger builds, it is what it is. It's the EVA grip straight into the epoxy wherever the wrap and stuff is. But I personally wouldn't use EVA as a winding check just because of the potential that the epoxy would hit it. However, I don't see a reason why you couldn't shape one. It's just an aggravating shape to try to sand down. But there's no reason why you couldn't. It's just to trim it out. That's all winding checks are for, is to trim out the transition from the grip to the blank. What do you guys think about the carbon fiber guides?
Have not tried them.
Which ones?
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, no, we haven't tried them yet. You know how Bill used blue pigment to tint the epoxy on a carbon fiber grip? I wonder how it would turn out with multicolored tints on a carbon fiber grip like the dye.
Very similar.
Mm-hmm.
You would just have to section off each part that you're doing.
Dye, yeah. You could absolutely do that. If you're talking about like me with my new tie-dye kind of concept or whatever, you could do it. I would be more prone to use alcohol ink in that situation that you're talking about, so that I would drop it on the wet epoxy and just kind of let it do its thing to kind of create a tie-dye, which then you'd have to come back with some sort of blowing apparatus, not a heat gun. I actually have my heat gun for the popping bottles, popping bubbles, and I have a little craft one that I bought that the tumbler people use, that it's smaller and it's got a smaller little nozzle.
Tip.
What is it?
Tip.
It's a smaller tip, and it can direct heat, air better, but it doesn't get as hot. So it's just blowing, and that would out. Do you? Yes, absolutely. Do you? Whatever works for you.
No, he's replying to himself.
Oh, me do? Oh,
No.
he's replying to him. What do you
Fixing
guys? Oh,
his
I got
mistake.
it. Sorry. Love the new microphones you're using now.
These are the ones we always use when
Since-
we're sitting here.
Since we stopped using the Yetis because of the feedback dramas that we were having, because we sit side by side instead of facing each other like most people do when they do two people podcasts, we've switched to these, but they only have a certain amount of cord, so we can't go far with them. I use the touch and go effect like a touching a flame and taking off, but I'm going to change my tactic going forward. When wrapping tips, do you wrap up to or onto the tip? I wrap onto the tip.
I wrap up too.
I wrap onto it, which obviously creates a little doof, right? So I go back and build up just a little bit of extra to kind of ramp it up to the top of the tip. I personally just like how that looks better. I think it looks finished. I like to wrap my tips. I like my tips wrapped.
I plead the fifth.
But if you don't want to wrap onto the tip, then it's either way, I think it's fine. You just have to
Just always wrap your tip.
figure out the transition between the tube versus where the thread's sitting. But I always prefer for somebody to put some little trim at the tip because it looks finished. I know some people just glue the tube on there and call it a day, and they don't actually put trims or anything at the tip. And I think that I just don't like that. I'm not a fan. I think it always should be trimmed out, in my opinion. But yeah, the snake skin from package to now that I'm okay with it, I will flat out say that it took me a very long time to work with snake sheds, snake skins.
Well, even the skin, you could do one as skin and shed.
Well, we kind of did the shed because, well, I was painting it, so we
But you
talk about the
didn't
shed. Didn't
show,
show how to
like-
do it.
Hey, do this first. Do this.
Okay. Sheds. Good. See, sometimes it just takes a team of people to just help us narrow down what you guys find more intriguing and not what Alice finds intriguing. I know the classes are in Florida. Ever planning to come to Texas somewhere someday? South Padre Island, Corpus, or Houston? We would love to, but I don't know. You know, we go where we're told to go right now and where we can afford to travel to. I'd love to go visit Texas. I've never been. You have.
I have.
But we've got a friend in Corpus that I'm trying to get down there to go visit so I can pick his brain on some of his amazing stuff that he does. But I just, with life and the kids and dogs and our travel schedule
And our bills.
and our bills, bills is what's causing it. Kind of hard to get a trip sorted out for that, and definitely not driving. So would love to one day. I'd love to get out to the West Coast and go to one of those shows.
Mm-hmm.
There was a chance 2 years ago that I was about to go, and I was so excited about it because I was going to go to the PCW show, PCS show, sorry. And I was super excited about it, but it didn't work out, and I was like, oh no. I always wrap something up by the tip or do lit glow pigment. That works too. I just think it needs something up there. It just can't be just straight tip to blank because it just doesn't look finished to me. Something. Give it something. Give it some character, right? What are you staring at over there?
Nothing.
Oh, you're looking hard.
You.
Hi. Corpus Christi is where I'm at. Apparently, there's a lot of you guys in that little area.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of rod builders in Texas, actually. A lot of people we know. Where's Arturo? He's in Houston?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Bunch of people in Texas. Bunch of people in California. It's like a lot of the rod builders I know are in Florida, Houston, I know a pretty good bit now in North Carolina, upper state, New Jersey-ish area, and out there. And now Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. What else? I know we get asked about wrappers all the time and our personal opinion on those. And we get asked about epoxy all the time and our opinion on those. And if you guys haven't been there or haven't watched one of those episodes, we have used almost every wrapper on the market.
Other than Renzetti.
Other than Renzetti. That's the only one we haven't used. We've had all the ones that have been discontinued, all the ones that are brand new, minus the Renzetti. And personally, my favorite is the RBS Pro G2. You don't even have to get the Pro stands, and I like the Pro stands, but you don't have to get the big expensive $900 and something one, which is the one I have. You could just get the headstock, like the whole motor system. That makes it worth it, in my opinion, because you can do a lot with that because it has the reverse and it's got the drying motor attached to it, and you can sand on it. It can handle it. That's
because we've seen guys take the headstock and just mount it to a table and then put stands on the table flat and use it that way.
You don't have to have the tracks. Now, granted, most of their like thread carriages and all their little add-ins and stuff, it makes sense to get their tracks. I like their tracks because they're low profile, they're not tall, and there's less opportunity for things to get lost in the tracks like previous people because they were so tall. So that's our personal favorite wrapper. And you can get 10% off of it if you use Wrap 10. Isn't that Oyster Bamboo Fly Rod Builder in South Carolina? Have y'all heard of them? So
Where's Oyster?
I don't know where Oyster is.
He's in northern Georgia.
Yeah.
Mountains of Georgia.
Yeah, okay. But one of our good friends, I don't think he builds anymore. I call him a good friend. He was a good friend while we're involved in the industry, but he's kind of gone MIA. But he was in Low County, South Carolina, and he did amazing.
Low County?
Is it Low County?
Low Country?
Low Country, whatever. It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Low Country, South Carolina. I think it was like Beaufort area. But he did amazing work. Beautiful work.
You talking about 6-footer in a Prius?
Yeah, or not.
Yeah.
Freaking gorgeous stuff. Hey, Bill. Welcome to the show. He called you Officer Christie.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, also, I'd like to find out the secret to do a perfect, nice marble. Epoxy resin time, adding CP for some reason, just confusing. Never get it right. So, I had a couple episodes. You'll have to excuse the audio in it. Where I went over, Wes did his version of marbling. I don't remember what episode it was. And then, I think it's two episodes ago, I did my kind of marbling, where I used the color preserver, and it's just to thicken the epoxy. That's all it is used for. And it's flex coat. You drop in, I have been dropping in 10 drops to 12 drops of the color preserver to try to figure out a happy medium where it stays fluid enough that I can work with it, but it's thick enough that the colors don't bleed out and I don't lose the shape of my design. Wes uses acrylic paint mixed with epoxy, and you don't have to add a thickening agent to it. And his is real simple and repeatable and easy to do. Mine, if you do the first example I did in the video, which I think somebody named fish scales, I think is what they decided to call it.
Something like that.
That one's easily to be repeated again too. But I have figured out with marbling, I'm pretty new to marbling. I've been doing it for about a year now. Some days it works out great, and some days it doesn't. It doesn't matter if you do the exact same thing twice. It's just sometimes it just does not work. So the Rod Builders Guild sent me out an email to see if there would be any interest in forming a Miss South region where we could have something in Texas, but was hardly any response. I'm sorry to hear that. The Rod Guild, I hope they were at the expo. Unfortunately, we didn't have any time to speak to any of them, but I'd be happy to see them starting to kind of build back up their
membership.
Yeah, I was like, what is the word? Hook keepers. What type do you like to use, and is there a different position you like to put them in on different rods types?
We use primarily two types: the big square one, or little tiny guides
With no rings.
with no rings that are size fives.
I personally don't like to put them on rods unless it is requested by the customer. I just, I just don't like them. I know that they have a purpose. I know that some people like to use them. I just don't go out of my way to put them on there.
As far as location,
I usually like to put them split grip area.
split grip or opposite whatever side the guides are on.
Yeah.
I have a big tendency to do opposite, like if it's a spinning rod, like the ones we just did for Todd, it would be on top, and he reels with his left hand, so I put it typically to the right.
Oh, wait.
So it's kind of offset and away from his real hand. I don't know why I do it, but every one of them I've done for him are like that.
Well, it stays
They're
out of his
up and
way. That's
canted.
why. It's out of his way. He's never going to get the line caught on it. And, but I always put them in the split, and I have a tendency to put them on the bottom of the rod because it is further away from where the reel would be sitting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on the bottom. And I did one on that Mad Season build. I haven't put the end video of it out. I need to do that, but I forgot about the hook keeper until after I had finished the wrap. And so I was like, all right, well, we're just going to slap it on top of the wrap. But instead of using thread to hold it on there, I used fluorocarbon. Wes reminded me of that. So that it would look like it was floating, because then it's secured on there. It's not going to go anywhere, but it doesn't take away from the wrap. And so people can look at it and go, oh, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I had a rod get stuck in the rod holder while fishing. The rod holder had created damage like a pothole in the blank 3 inches from the butt cap. Would you repair it by sleeve it in, or would you just cut it off and just have a shorter rod?
I would cut the butt, sleeve it, and cut the butt and the rear grip. Sleeve it, put the grip over top of that sleeve, and then put the butt back over top of that sleeve.
Mm-hmm. Wrap over your
And when
end.
you sleeve it, make sure that you have secured the spot that it damaged.
Yeah. And to protect it, if it sounds like it's a
protect it.
Protect it. Protect it. It sounds like a split grip. I would make some sort of cover to go over it, and so that can't happen again.
And you can literally just take a piece of foam.
I showed how I took the circular EVA, that mud hole cells, the wood grain kind of stuff. I had extra sitting around here. I don't use it that often. It was here for some reason. One of my customers wanted a cover to protect it from the rod holder. Cool, not a problem. So I just cut a line down one side of the EVA, a little bit longer than the section that was, showing the blank and stuff, and pried it open. It slipped over top of it. Cool. Everybody's happy, right? It's secure, not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I showed a video of this, right? Everybody chewed me out for not using pool noodle. I'm like, that's fine too. I have no problem with you using a pool noodle. Pool noodles work too, but they fall apart.
The problem with a pool noodle is it won't fit down in the gunnels of the boat.
I was like, okay, like
you're going to go to use it, and that pool noodle is going to stop like this. And you're going to go, oh, I need to shave this down.
And then that you've already split it to get it to go over it. So how are you going to stand it down? But yeah, or, but EVA, the circle EVA works great if you want to go that way. Or if you want to use a pool noodle, just shave it so it'll fit in the actual hole. I've seen videos of making finger rings with stone. They come out so nice. Just brainstorming, introduce it as a winding check somehow.
You can.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely, anything that the ring guys are doing, the ring makers with all of those little crushed stones and the colors and the pick, all that stuff that they're dropping into those channels, that can be incorporated into rod building. A lot of people will do it in their handles because it's easier. It's a bigger place to do it. Okay. And that's just is what it is. If you're able to make your own like wooden winding jacks, that'd be a perfect way to set yourself apart from the community, because not a lot of people have the tools, the patience, or anything to turn something so at an angle and size it per thing, and then cutting a little cavity into it to make that other stuff. But it would be superior, as far as like aesthetic wise, because then everybody's gonna be like, oh, that looks amazing, because it will look amazing. So do it. Try it out. I have so many things in this shop that I bought with the ideas of playing around and testing it that I haven't even got close to it. Rings are actually on the list. There's a whole bunch of stuff over there on that shelf that is dedicated to ring supplies of things that I had in mind to do, and I had to put it down because, customers come first. So
For now.
yeah, once I get caught up, I gotta take a sabbatical as far as customer orders, because I've got some things I have to get finished and I've got to get them out, and I've set the goal to get them done this year. So
If you get told December,
I mean it.
it's
I
December.
mean it. Let's see. I know it's right here. Just as you brainstormed on coloring patterns on fingernails. Exactly. Just like that. Okay, I'm about to go fishing. See you guys later. Have a good night. Have a good night, Travis. Good luck. It was under an EVA grip. So under the grip, the rod got messed up.
Okay, cut it and sleeve it. As in, like, cut the bad spot off, and then if you want to keep it that length, put a piece there to sleeve it with.
Yeah. Just fix it that way.
You can go inside and outside, or just inside, or...
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, just fix it that way. It's not going to be any issue there. Obviously it's a weaker spot at this point, so I would just protect it.
I'd just cut off the bad spot. If it's like the butt.
He said it was 3 inches from the butt.
Yeah, cut that off. And then you could take and use
3 inches from the butt cap.
Yeah. You cut that off, sleeve it, and redo it.
Mm-hmm.
Same way.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want it a little shorter, cut it, put a butt on it.
John said he's added a couple extra rod holders to the side of his T-top that came with white rubber liners.
Mm-hmm. They're making those now.
Mm-hmm. I wish we had a boat. Being a longtime rod builders,
Go ahead.
Being longtime rod builders, do you have any tips on eye strain?
Don't build fishing rods. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
I'm gonna be honest. So, lighting is super important. Not working through the eye fatigue, super important. Okay, you guys, there is not a day that there's not a pair of glasses on my head and my eyes are shot. I used to have better than 20/20 vision, and over the last, it's probably been like the last 4 years, pregnancy, carrying the kids probably did a lot on them too, but they have just progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. I can't see things up close anymore without having my glasses, because I was pushing myself through the eye fatigue. And when my eyes would get tired, I'd be like, I've just got a couple more passes. And I'm really straining my eyes before I started putting the glasses on. So good lighting, knowing when to take breaks with your eyes, and make sure that it's not a big deal for you to put on a pair of readers every once in a while, because they have magnifications that are barely there. I'm at 4s now, and that has happened over 4 years.
Yep.
But once you start wearing the glasses or the magnifiers or whatever you're going to have on your face to be able to see close up, your eyes are going to start getting worse. So just keep that in mind.
It's more when you feel the fatigue. Stop.
Don't push through it.
If you can't see to start with, fix that. Make it brighter, make it closer, whatever you need to. If you need to look at something and you're already straining, put the magnifiers on instead of straining to look at it.
And another thing with a lot of nowadays, because a lot of us are constantly on computers, or we're constantly looking at screens, or, you work a computer job, those blue lens glasses will help a lot. I need to be wearing mine. I have a pair because I do so much on my phone 24/7. I do have the little, the adjuster, so that it dims and it gets brighter or whatever, depending on what the lighting is around it. But that only does so much. And we do have the blue light filter on our phones, but I can't stand how the phone looks whenever it's like that. So, yeah, just take a break. I mean, honestly, don't push through it, because you will regret it. It will get worse. It's going to get, Your eyes are going to get tired. You just got to give them a break.
When they get tired, just stop.
Just stop, take a break. It's not worth it. And that break can be 10, 20 minutes. It could be 2 hours. It could be the next day. But just take a break. Or work on something that you don't have to be hyper-focused to be up so close to. You know, go to something where it's fun, where, I don't know, gluing up grips or turning handles. Something that you don't have to be so
Focused on.
zoomed in to be able to do it. Change.
You act like you build rods right here. You're
I
like
do
here.
sometimes. Like sometimes I have to get close when my eyes are tired because I push
Because
through
your
the
eyes
I
are tired.
push through the fatigue.
See the problem?
I don't literally listen to what I'm telling you, but don't do what I do because
What does it say?
do as I say. So he said he sleeved it with a 9-inch piece and used a lot of glue and put the butt cap back on. So far, it's holding up good. Didn't want to lose the length of the rod.
Yep.
You should be fine.
Stop after that.
Let's just go ahead and go now. All right. So before we go into any more Q&As, by all means, continue to keep firing them off. We want to take a minute and we would talk about the product of the night.
Compressed carbon seats. So there's a big middle ground. You've got regular graphite seats, which if you haven't read the article that Chris Adams did about graphite seats and how they're graphite infused nylon, I suggest reading that. A lot of information that a lot of builders probably don't realize. But then you've got like your high-end carbon seats that are, $40, $50, $60 retail. Then you've got compressed carbon that's in between for $15, $20.
Yeah.
It's still just as light. It's just not as expensive.
Right.
And there's 15 models
Bunch of
to choose
models.
from.
And you can get all kinds of hoods to go with them too. You can get the ones that
the standard hood, the unilock hood. We tend to steer more now towards the unilock hood. She hates it. I think it looks better, but
that's because I have to make a piece for it every time.
But it hides the threads.
It does
looks
hide.
better.
It hides the threads. It looks better. It does make it 100% more custom because you got to make your own little piece to go there. But if you don't want to make a little piece, they also have little custom pieces that you can put on there. They have an EVA one, and it's got trims that you can switch out, and it's great. So we are a big fan of the Go Here Real seats. And remember, wrap 10, save 10% off of them. Let's see. I noticed my vision took a dump about the same time I started building rods. Now the kids laugh at me when I struggle reading a menu in a dimly lit restaurant. I wear multifocal contacts now.
Yep.
I am the same way. I can't read anything up close. Like, I have to pull it away like this, and I'm like, because it's
I'm becoming my parent.
I am, and I know that from, doctor visits with my mom when her vision started to tank when she was doing a whole bunch of, like, needle work because she was a big seamstress and stuff. He says as soon as you start wearing glasses, you're going to have to get stronger prescriptions over time because your eyes are going to adjust to it and then they're going to get tired. And she refused to wear contacts. So I need to go see the eye doctor, but I just keep putting it off because I'm like, this is fine for now. Your technique for lining up guides.
A tool I can't discuss and my eyeballs.
How he has been doing it prior to this tool that has entered the chat is that he will hold the rod up towards a
white wall
with the light on it. And a lot of times has me standing beside him or walking down the rod with a sheet of paper. So he'll go guide for guide, blocking it out to make sure they're lined up, and then it goes to the tip. And
the easiest way I've found is to take the rod, say this is your blank, and set it right here. So that your eyeball isn't straining, but the guides are directly inside of your line of sight, and you see every one that's off. And as soon as you see the first one to come off, you take it, hold it, adjust it. And I'm literally hitting the top of my cheekbone here with the rod blank each time. And that's Mary. Every blank has had a greasy face stain between the guides that we go back and clean later, because I'll go all the way down the rod. And
sometimes we don't clean them, and we never had any issues with epoxy. I'm gonna be honest. Like, we don't work in a 100% sterile environment, so we don't have to.
But I'm just talking about like on the matte blanks, there'll be a shine where I'll put my face, and then when I get done, I'll go back and wipe it off.
Yeah. But it's not, he makes it sound like it's an old splat, and it's not. It's just normal old skin. But he just looks at it. Now, another way, if that I have trouble lining up guides, he's been making me do them more and more because, why not? But I usually just hand it to him because I'm like, that's what you're good at. And now he's like, nope, I got to work. So I usually get behind the rod and that's how I can do it. But I always hand it to him. And I've gotten better, but they're not perfect. But another way that also helps too is if you turn the guides upside down, the rod completely upside down, so the guides are on the bottom of it away from you, you can tell whether or not they're splitting the center and you can kind of fix them from there.
Yep.
That's what we do. I use 125 and sometimes 150 cheaters and it helps a bunch up close. I can't stand the headgear. I know there's people who use those visors and stuff. I can't stand anything sitting on my head.
A magnifier that comes down.
I couldn't stand working with that magnifier we had. That was in the... I don't like anything being in front of my face because then it makes my brain think I can't function. Like my hands don't work right.
Yep.
I wish I had another person to move guides while I look. So if you've got to do it by yourself, I don't move the guides most of the time. Sometimes I do, but I block it out. And let's say that you're doing it by yourself and you have, you could just clip. You can use chip clips to put the paper to the top of the guide so you can maneuver around and keep doing that same technique. It would be amazing for everybody to have somebody to help them. Note card behind it, just something to block out everything else so that you can see where the rings are lining up. But a chip clip will work for that. Or those little, what are they, the black ones that fold down that are for papers. I don't know, those, they're not paper clips, but they're the black ones you squeeze and then you can flip them down so they don't come apart. Office clips, whatever they are. I think a small laser would work too.
I've never had a laser work properly. And, I've seen posts where guys will use that Bosch laser that's like stupid bright and green. But the moment that hits a blank that is matte finish and you're using black guides, it does not show up. I don't care what anybody says. It'll reflect on silver. It'll reflect on titanium. But you put it on black guides with black rings on a matte black blank and it goes away. I don't care what color it is, whether it's red, blue, green, yellow, orange. I've never been able to get it work on that setup.
We had the little guide one, but it was so faint that you had to turn the lights off.
I strained more than I needed to be able to see it, no matter. And I tried my dad's Bosch that he uses for leveling sockets and all. Never got it to work how I want it to.
But that doesn't mean that it wouldn't work for you.
Right.
Just try it, see what works. It's always, there's multiple ways to do these things. But if a laser works for you, great. Just, then we come into the question, is the blank super straight? And then now you got to deal with that. So
that's another, because when you put the blank into the wrapper, you're forcing that blank to be straight.
But does it sit
you
straight?
Get the guide straight. Then you take that thing off of the wrapper, and it has just a slight bend at one of the guides in the middle of the blank where you didn't notice it. Now that guide has gone, whoop, and it's canted. Now you've got to fix it anyways. I always straighten the guides while it's free to sit. Nothing holding it.
While it's in its natural form.
Yep.
Now,
I will straighten them on the wrapper and then pull it right off, and I don't even check them. I know they're close, but I still go straight to
close one eye.
Okay, fourth down, and then I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4.
Then he sends me to straighten it. Too far, little back.
That's on the long ones.
Yeah, that's on.
That I can't hold it back here.
That's our 12-foot ones where he's like, take a walk, go to the fourth guide.
From the tip, come back 3.
Do you put another clear coat of epoxy over your marbling after it is dried?
If it's bumpy, yes.
So you don't have to. Let's go ahead and preface this. If you put marbling down, you got the pigment and stuff in there. If you didn't add glitter, you don't have to. However, we always put trims at the ends of our marbling. There's always some sort of thread work to
and then we have to coat that.
Frame it out. So we coat everything to make sure it's all level. as Wes was saying, if it's super bumpy for whatever reason, because it didn't level after you put all your stuff into it, and yes, you're going to have to, fix that. You would have to put more on there, but it doesn't need it. But usually we always end up adding 1 or 2 more coats just to cover the trim threads. So we do. I tried a laser a few times, but it's been collecting dust. My eyes are way better. Yeah.
I never got a laser to work.
I giggled at it because we would turn on the one laser that we had and you couldn't see it. So you had to turn the lights off, which defeated the whole purpose. It was like, now I can't even really see the guides. Wilkins is here. Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
That's where I need the second person. The amount of times I'll walk the rod length to adjust a guide left to right 5 times before it's perfect. Hey, but you know what? Good for you, because some people just would not take the time to actually do that. And it's a tragedy, honestly. That's the kind of stuff that goes on behind the scenes as building rods that nobody talks about.
Mm-hmm.
The time invested in straightening the guide train, how frustrating it is for all of us to have to sit back and straighten our guides. We get them close when we get them wrapped, or if you mess up and you wrap them on the opposite side like I did one day, you have to fix them. But you try to get them close when you're going to wrap them, then you got to go through the hassle of straightening them. And we all have encountered the one rod where you go to nudge it just a little bit and the guide goes whoop, and it goes way too far and you're like, oh crap, and then you got to move it back. And then I've had guide feet cut the thread before and I've had to rewrap the guide. So those are the little nuances, those little stressors, those little aggravations.
Or not have ground the feet and go to move it, and then it pops down below the guide foot, so now the guide foot's sticking out of the thread.
Now you got this big like silver fleck in there, and you can't get rid of it because you can't push the thread back uphill. Yeah, so that's all those little things that happen behind the scenes that nobody talks about. Nobody even is aware of it, So when you have these conversations with your customers about how long it takes you to do these things, or why you charge the way you charge. Hey, did you know that once I wrap your guides on there, it takes me this amount of time to sit there and walk back and forth to straighten said guides? Do you know that I spend the time doing that? Because it's not coming out of a factory where everything's just marked and they call it a day and floop, 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 and it's out the door. That's why you're custom rod builders. It's made by hand. I ain't going on a rant about some of the stuff that people say to me sometimes. Ooh, Lordy. Right? It is comical, some of the things people argue with us about. All right, so I do know another thing that we get asked a lot about is what brand of epoxy we prefer to use.
The brand that works for you.
Now,
I don't care what brand you use. We use ProCoat because it works.
Why have we gotten to this point? How did we get to this point of settling on ProCoat?
Because it works. It's consistent. It does its job every single time.
Prior to that, though, when Wes and I were getting heavier into doing building for customers, and we had what was that? What was the first coat? What was the first epoxy?
I started with Flex Coat in 2006, 7, 8, somewhere in that area. Then went to ProCoat. Left ProCoat, went to Aftcoat.
That's when I entered the pictures, when he was using Aftcoat.
Aftcoat went to
Classic Coat.
Classic Coat. Classic Coat to
Threadmaster.
Threadmaster back to Classic Coat.
Stayed at Classic Coat till it went
couldn't
under.
Get it. Went back to Threadmaster.
Then we stayed with that till they disappeared.
Then they discontinued it, and we went back to ProCoat.
Now, we went through, during that session before we went to ProCoat, we had bought 5 or 6 different, like, small versions of everybody's epoxy that was on the market at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We put down, I did a test on a black blank. I wrapped white thread in little bands all down it. And we were also at that point in time testing whether or not acetone, because there was a bunch of people online talking about how acetone makes the epoxy yellow faster. And so I was like, okay, I'm testing which one of these brands I like better and performs better and doesn't yellow as fast as the rest of the ones that are out there. I trust what I'm going to do. I can't trust what 100 people online say, because everybody's experience is different. So
Well,
wrapped all
and
these bands.
a lot of people forget epoxy is made at a certain elevation wherever the factory is.
Oh, big. Oh,
You start
listen.
changing elevations, it changes how the epoxy sets up. You start changing the amount of humidity in your shop, it changes how the epoxy sets up. So if I, in Rock Hill, South Carolina, had a relative humidity of, say, 60%,
Which is
and our
normally
600 feet of elevation, take my same epoxy, and I go to Denver on top of a mountain, it's not going to work the same.
it's just like cooking recipes. When you're in the mountains, you got to do something different than you do down here in the
It's not going to be
foothills.
the same at all. That's why it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you, buy sample of each. Find what works for how you do it.
Because everybody in their different atmospheres in your little cities and towns and your houses and stuff, everything's going to work a little bit different than it does for anybody else. So I wrapped all these little white bands all down the rod. I marked one with a little black permanent marker, and one side got straight epoxy, the other side got epoxy mixed with acetone. So I could throw it out in the yard, and we did one coat on everything. I yeeted it out in the yard until the kids they were little at that point in time, and it stayed in the yard, moving around various locations because the kids thought it was hilarious to throw this broken blank like a javelin throughout the yard. So, and it stayed out there, whether it was rain, whether it was nighttime, didn't care, right? 6 months later, I think I checked it every couple of weeks because I actually did it we were doing it for Southern as a test as well. And the acetone side of the epoxies didn't yellow any faster than the regular side did. So that told me that was a myth that was running around online. That, okay, whatever. It's just, obviously, somebody had a bad experience with an epoxy and they just blamed the acetone that time. Cool, whatever. Proof right here, right in front of me. And based off of how the epoxy went on and how fast it yellowed, we went back to Pro Coat. Now, that's not to say that Pro Coat doesn't yellow. All epoxy yellows over time. If anybody does rebuilds, anybody takes in repairs, you see that epoxy is awful. Usually comes back in looking golden, amber, and a lot of the manufacturers on these rods, because I'm going to say it's manufactured because that's usually 90% of the repairs that ever come back is always a manufactured rod. They're all using dark thread because they're hiding the fact that that's going to show age. That's the reason why you hear people, oh, we don't ever use white. Yes, it's going to show its age over time, but it's not that big of a deal to send it back to the builder. I personally wouldn't take it as an issue to bring it back to me for me to peel back the epoxy on the guides and redo that because the thread doesn't change color. It's still white. It's just the epoxy that turns yellow. So we encourage you to do the same when you decide that you want to change epoxies. But, big but here, if what you're doing is working for you, there's no reason to change. I don't care what the hype is online. I don't care what...
Oh, this new.
I don't care what
this new.
What this whole group of people over here are saying. I don't care what anybody... If it's working for you and you've never had a problem with it...
Why are you changing?
Don't change it. You know, and the reason is because once you start experimenting with all these different things, you may end up liking one better, and that's great. Go for it. Try it out. Love it. But if it's not broken, why are we trying to fix it? If you need to fix it because of something, go for it and test it out. If you want to change, you just want to test it and see if one works better than what you've been doing, that's why you do it. That's your why. But don't just go, well, all these people are talking about this, maybe I should try it, and you switch everything all at once. It may work out for you, it may not. But it's not one of those, like, epoxy shouldn't have gangs of people that are just supporting them, in my opinion. Like, you know, you got your people that like Flex Coat, you got your people that like Pro Coat, you got your people that like
Gen 5, 4,
Gen
6,
4, 5, 1001 that's running around out there, and it's fine. Everybody's going to love their own epoxy brand because it works for them in their house. But like we said, if you want to change it, you got to test it. Because like Wes pointed out, don't think anybody has ever explained that it's made at a certain altitude, certain area, certain temperature.
And there's tolerances with them, but the humidity is the biggest factor.
And that's what's always going to affect it, is the humidity, how fast it sets up, what it does, yada, yada, yada. So at their little.
There's a whole science behind it that
It is chemicals.
I've dove into,
It's chemicals.
and every single epoxy yellows.
Hmm. So if somebody tells you, "Oh, well, I don't use this because it yellows," okay, well, they all yellow. It just takes some of them a little bit longer and some of them a little bit less. Do you sand the rod ring epoxy and re-epoxy again for a smoother shine? True or false?
If it's old, you can, but
Okay, I'm going to.
ring is guide.
Do you sand the guide ring epoxy and re-epoxy again for a smoother shine? So, little tidbit here, not specific to guide epoxy, but you can wet sand your epoxy.
Yep.
You can buff it just like you do car. So, if you, Mark Krause, one of our good friends, taught us this a long time ago, that you can, now you have to put a heaping amount of epoxy on this for this to work. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
it's not like your normal.
not like two,
get it
3 coats,
done.
get it done. You've got to put 5, 6 layers, not thick layers, but you got to put 5 or 6 layers on this because you're sanding it at this point. And you can go through the various stages using literally the 3-part car. What's it called? This sanding, buffing system.
It's a polishing system.
It's a polishing. Yeah, thank you. And you can go through and you can sand all of your epoxy that way.
You can go through with just wet sanding and get the same effect, because based on the level of wet sanding determines if you have a matte finish or a polished finish.
And then you come back and if you want to polish, you buff it, and you have the most sparkliest, prettiest epoxy in the world. It looks like glass. Not a lot of people are going to take the time to do that, because in order to do that process, you have to have epoxy, last coat of epoxy finished on it,
And cure.
and it has to cure. And we're talking about 7 days minimum before you can try to sand it, because it's got to be rock hard. It can't be slightly gummy. It's got to be rock hard for you to be able to touch it. And you have to put it in a very hot place so that it cures. It cures, not just gets
That's
hard
dry.
to the touch. No, we don't want to do that.
Can be done.
So if you want to do the extra time, you can. It'll look like glass when you get done with it. What is the best place to dispose of old epoxy? Do you know if Mud Hole takes in old epoxy to dispose?
So we don't dispose of our old epoxy.
We use it for
sits
tests.
right over there. We use it for marbling, because 9 times out of 10, once you put the pigments in it, you can't tell it's old epoxy. Or we use it for repairs, or just testing other things out. We don't throw it away until it's gone.
Yeah, I've never thrown away a
The
bottle.
only one we've thrown away is when it crystallizes.
I
We
did
don't want to
yeah.
deal with it anymore, because we tried to heat it and it wouldn't uncrystallize.
I heated it and it turned into paste all by itself.
Yeah, so
That was the resin, not even the hardener. I was like, that is completely kicked. But I actually used it a couple of more times for some marbling somethings before I did toss that bottle. I don't know if there's a way to.
properly recycle.
I would assume, I mean, if the 2 parts don't come together, then you're fine to put them in plastic bags separate from each other, sealed, so that they can't, leak or whatever. But I don't know if there's a proper way you're supposed to dispose of them. Mixed together would just
Mainly
be,
because we hardly ever do.
I don't know. I don't know if Mud Hole takes them back. I tried Gen 4 after everyone was talking good about it, but I went back to Flex Coat High after realizing that Gen 4 was less tolerant to heat and started microbubbling. So, and that's another thing too. Some epoxies can't handle heat, and they will microbubble city. I never got on the Gen 4 train. I'm just gonna be honest. I never tried their epoxy.
We did.
You did. I did not.
As in we did.
He did. I didn't. I mean, if you're going to talk about us as a unified front, then sure, we did. But I never physically put my hands on it. Never used it.
We tried it.
But I just, Pro Code's been working for me. And I, if you guys haven't figured it out, I do like to try a lot of new things. But when something is working, I don't like to walk away from what's working. I don't like to
Until
try,
it stops working.
until it stops working, and then I'm like, oh, okay, then I gotta try something else. So I don't really like to change once I'm settled into my routine.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about it.
But I am.
I won't bring up that fight.
Which one?
The white bottle sitting over there.
I think the whole internet is understanding of my color preserver dramas, okay? They watched me cut that wrap off twice. But I don't know, if it's not broke, I just don't try it. So
Gotta try it. I don't want to try it.
I don't want to try it.
I want what I had.
But yeah, some of them don't like heat. Some of them do like heat. And I like to use heat on my epoxy, but that's because all the ones that we've used prior tolerate heat, so it's not that big of a deal. So I go to pause before we get into the rest of them, and we are going to talk about our giveaway product tonight. So everybody strap in. We're going to introduce something new to you tonight. Hope you're listening. But this is what we're going to give away.
These are printed jaw feet. They are made from TPU material. They are 10 times more sturdy than the rubber feet that have been offered before, and they last a lot longer. As in, we went through 2 sets of rubber feet in a month and a half.
Yeah, I've been burning them up.
These have gone triple that so far.
Highly recommend these. And it doesn't just come with the flat ones that were pictured there. Those are my personal favorite ones. There's also a conical set.
It's a pointed set that goes a little closer.
Well, it's not like a point. It goes up and has a flat spot. So there's just a little bit. It's a smaller grab area.
Either way, you get both. It's 2 sets of 3. The flat, square, and the conical. The conical is more for if you're grabbing a tip or an ice rod or an ultralight rod or something smaller than what that square will go down to. It will still reach down and grab. And same screws, everything, you just replacing the feet. Right. Retail on them is $6.25 for 2 sets of 3, and they're going to last you 2 to 3 times as long, if not longer, than the rubber. So kind of a no-brainer.
I haven't torn them up yet. Let's just put it that way. And I'm notorious for ripping up those rubber ones. So I highly recommend them. And I know the other question is going to be, does it scratch? No, my ferrules and everything that I've been working on these boat rods, I've not had an issue with them. Just out of precaution. I used to do the rubber ones too. I still wrap them, but there was a couple days where I forgot to put the painter's tape over top of the ferrule because I was in a hurry, and I went, oh no, and then I was like, oh, it's fine. So it does no damage to the blanks or anything. So
it's more durability. They're going to last you longer.
But tonight we're throwing a kink into the system. We normally ask a riddle. We're trying to trip you guys up.
It's a brain teaser.
It's a brain teaser. It's called a rebus puzzle. If any of you guys know what that is, I didn't know what they were. I called them brain teasers up until before the podcast. But when I figured out what it's called, it's a rebus puzzle. So I'm gonna pop this up on the screen, and you're gonna be able to look at it, and you need to guess it. And tonight, I will say it's a saying, okay? But tonight there's gonna be 3 of you that are gonna win. 3 winners.
Are we doing 3 different puzzles or first 3 to
Nope,
answer?
just first 3 to answer. I'm not putting up 3 different puzzles.
Okay, first 3 to answer. We'll all get a set.
All right. So ready? 3, 2, 1. This is the puzzle. You're going to look at it and to figure it out. Remember, it is a saying.
And we need the saying as the answer. First 3 to answer. Go ahead and read that. Wow.
So I live in South Texas. Super hot, mostly all year. Wonder if using a tent floor and a small heater for longer curing affects the outcome or if my effort overkill. Using the small tent to cure rods from mud hole.
It can always...
It's going to speed it up.
Yeah.
Like, I personally like to use the tent. I use it a lot whenever I'm turning EVA and stuff like that. That way I don't have to worry about dust getting in my epoxy and it keeps it covered. But also putting the tent over it heats it up in general. You're going to shorten the time that it takes for it to dry and the curing process. So it's really not that big of a deal, and it's not overkill. No 2 ways about it. Cody. So the other 2 that's coming behind you, quickly type it out.
But Cody's the main winner.
Yep. Good job, Cody. No two ways.
Randy.
Randy. Where's my pen? Did you take it? We have Cody, Darn, Randy, Waterbury.
Cody, we need your information sent to us.
And
Name, address, where you want it shipped to. And Randy Waterbury, we need your name and address sent to us.
then
Palacio Performance Fishing is the next one.
so all three of you guys, I just need you to send me a message or email me at thedecorativestudio@gmail.com. I just need your name and your address, and we will get them shipped out to you next week. Thanks.
Probably Tuesday.
It'll be drop shipped at some point. Make sure I got that. Performance fishing. So make sure that you get in contact with me so that I can get those shipped to you.
Palacio, when you send a message, if it's not under the Palacio Performance Fishing name, just make sure to say, hey, this is
from the podcast. I see you're on YouTube, so, but obviously I only know the name that's showing up there. So if your message says something else, I'm gonna be like, who are you? But anyways, congratulations, guys. That was awesome.
good job.
I've been talking to Mary about things this week. I'll send her my stuff. Oh yeah, me and Cody go way back. Do. All right, that was fun. I like that.
Yeah.
That was cool. Congrats. Still riddle-ish. Yeah, we've been getting our kids to do those because I want them to think more.
Oh my God.
And the oldest loves it. The youngest, some of them are
He
little.
gets them,
He
but-
gets them, but some of them he gets them on the first go. But we have kid versions, and then I pulled adult version. It took me a while to figure that one out.
But
I was like,
we've been making them do them because
you got to think.
they're of this. Hey, you can just look it up.
And we're like, no, you
No.
got to think about it. And
Just like their Kirby game. I keep telling them, son, I spent a year trying to beat a level on Super Mario Brothers. I'm not looking up how to find the treasure map for Kirby.
just because you can find
I
it
will
on the
not.
internet does not mean that you're going to get it. You got to work for that, man. I remember me and my brother were playing Donkey Kong when Super Nintendo. It took and both of us playing. I was always
The
Diddy.
train level.
The freaking
5 days straight I played it to beat it on summer vacation.
I think it took us a couple months to beat it, but then after we got through it the first time, obviously you got faster and faster and faster. But it was like we always played that together. It was always a fun game. We beat Mario.
Zelda.
I didn't play Zelda.
You didn't play Zelda?
We played.
Link!
we played.
Luke!
We played Super Mario Brothers, and we played Donkey Kong, and we played Mortal Kombat. That was the 3 games that we had. And then he moved to computer games, and then we started playing
Doom.
Diablo is what we played. We didn't play Doom.
You didn't play Doom?
Didn't play Doom.
Oh, man.
Played Diablo 2 on the computer.
Doom was
Get into
awesome.
the special. There was a special level that you could get into on Diablo. You had killer cows coming after you. It was hilarious. And they're all walking on they're standing up and they're walking on 2 feet.
Oh, Lord.
Udders hanging out.
They're bringing 007 back.
Nice. Anyways, all right. Giveaway. Okay, I wrote them all down. All right. Yeah, I don't have anything on the side. What's another thing that you get asked a lot? I get asked a lot about decorative wraps and stuff in general, but I feel like I know for me, 15 years into explaining all of this stuff, I feel like the conversations have been explained, but I know that there's so many new builders that find me or they're just getting started that what I feel is old info is not old info to them. So it's hard for me to figure out, like, does that need to be talked about again? Because I know I've talked about it a lot. You get asked a lot about component stuff.
I get asked more opinions of certain, I have to say this very politically correctly, opinions of things that happen that are seen on social media that are not accurate to how they should be done.
mm, details of other people's stuff, pictures of other
Like,
things.
why is it done this way?
Yeah.
Why is it done this way? What what are what is this and why? And a lot of times it's my answer is I don't know. I wouldn't do it that way.
Mm-hmm. Or the people pointing out that, hey, that there's a glue line there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I yeah, and he brings up the Sharpie pen, but no, like the Sharpie pen is still like a new conversation because that, like I said, I think it was last year, or the year before. My time remembrance of when things happened is skewed, but it's recent development with the paint pens. Like I had to put a whole PSA out there about it and be like, hey, they will explode. Stop doing that. So Doom is still a thing. All the
Crash Bandicoot
all the
was
different Mario
king,
Brothers are cool.
John.
I never played Crash Bandicoot,
Oh my God.
but I didn't have. What game did you play that on? What system?
PS2
We didn't have a
is
PlayStation
what I played it on.
because we had Super Nintendo and then it was computer. That was it. We didn't have any other.
See, I
system.
went
We didn't.
NES.
We didn't even have a Game Boy.
NES, Super Nintendo, N64,
Nope.
Sega, like all both at the same time with a Game Boy. Then PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. Skipped PS4
Now you have a 5.
to a 5.
I had Xbox whenever I was living by myself. I was Xbox 360. That was the only gaming system.
And we
I
had a Xbox
Mm-hmm.
together
That was what I
because of
played.
Halo.
But the time frame from when we stopped playing the video games before we got into the computer games, we were on the farm. We were working 24/7. So we didn't have time to play games, you know. So we were out working the 100 acres. So we didn't have time to play video games. So it was a skip in between there. Butt caps. What do you find the best to suit different grip types?
A bulb.
Bulbs are my favorite. I'm gonna be honest. I like bulb butts. I like bulb butts, and I cannot lie.
Bulbs and the weighted caps are typically what we tend to do. We will do some that are just foam with a plug or foam inside of another piece. Cork with a rubber cork.
So yeah,
Obviously, it depends on each situation.
like if you're doing a cork, I like to use the rubberized.
Hates the color of it.
I hate the color of it. I usually like to get. I like the black one. I don't like that tan, red, brown color. Like I hate that. Blech. But there's only two different colors with the rubberized cork for that. But I like those for the flat ends of it. The saltwater builds that we do, I prefer to have some sort of bulb style on it, just because of aesthetics. I think it looks better.
Gimbal or rubber gimbal.
Gimbals for, you know, the things that you could possibly have to lock into a harness or whatever, gunnel, whatever the case may be. Not a gunnel. What am I trying to say?
You can use it in gunnel most of the time.
But and sometimes rubber gimbals, but if I've never used just a flat, like the pieces that you can pop out for making your own custom butts, I don't use those often. But it's a style thing, you know. I like rounded curves on the butts. I like a rounded butt more so than I like a square sharp edge, because I know that people are rougher on the butt. This sounds like a weird conversation. And those sharp edges can, you know, knock off, especially if it's
chip out,
you know, cork or something of that nature. So I have a tendency to try to round them, but that's personal preference, honestly.
Circle butts.
I like circle butts. I think circle butts look better than flat butts.
Do you use a lathe or your wrapper more to form grips?
Lathe. I 100% wood lathe. Now, if I'm sanding my grips after they've been glued to the rod to just kind of taper them down, they're on the wrapper, and I don't have a problem with that. I had to redo times two's grip on the wrapper because they had to be glued. The block had to be glued to the blank because, one, we didn't have a mandrel big enough for it, and two, it needed to be secured before I turned it. So I had to turn it on the lathe. There are on the wrapper. There's exceptions, but I prefer, if I have it my way, that all handles are done on the lathe and then they're reamed to fit to be glued on, and then I will taper the edges on the wrapper. That's it. I don't like to turn on the wrapper if I don't have to, because I like to use my wrapper for applying epoxy. And cleaning up EVA dust or cork dust is a nightmare because it goes, I don't care if you've got a vacuum or not. And I don't have a down draft system or whatever they're called, the sanding table mechanism to suck all that stuff straight down. And even that's not going to get all of it. But when I had to turn the nightmare rod on the wrapper, I am still collecting and cleaning the wheels. Pieces. There's little pieces of that EVA dust it's just poof, it's just appearing overnight. It's like the little gremlins come out and they're like, we're throwing grenade, but it's like, I just cleaned you yesterday. What do you use to secure the guides to the blank while wrapping guides?
Zip ties.
Zip ties.
Unless the guide foot is too small for a zip tie. And then it's a piece of tape.
I hate tape, but I use zip ties. Now, I've also encountered where my guides are too big, my blank's too big for the zip ties, and I have to tape them on anyway. So, tape or zip ties. I like the little mini zip ties. I get them from Lance at, I forgot his business name. Swampland Tackle. I think it's Young Pups, Atari Pong to Asteroids. I played Atari. I played Atari at the farmhouse because that was the only system that was out there.
I didn't.
It was very slow and very methodic, but it was fun to play. We played the tank game. I don't know what that was called.
Probably called Tanks.
It was very basic. So, is there a rule of thumb of what guide size to start with, depending on reel size for spinning rods?
It depends on size of reel and size of rod, but typically, depending on the style you're doing, it could be anywhere from I've seen as big as a 50 to 20, 16.
50. That's big.
You've got one on your rod.
Yeah. The microwaves. I keep forgetting about mine.
It also depends on what kind of line you're throwing. If you're throwing 40, 50-pound mono, you're going to have a big guide to catch it all.
But basically, it's based off of pool size on your reel and what you're fishing for. I mean, there's not really a rule of thumb, per se.
It's what's going to work for each application.
Yeah, and keeping in mind that you have to tame the line on the spinning rods. Microwave system that American Tackle has, 100% look into it. That is one of our favorite guide systems to use for spinning rods for our customers and stuff.
Or the KLH.
Either one of those.
Somebody just does not want the microwaves. But it also depends. Are you throwing tuna poppers? Are you throwing surf? Are you throwing ultralight trout?
There's a bunch of different variations.
Silicone O-rings. I
haven't had luck with those.
Been able to get them work.
I'm gonna be honest.
And it very well could be because the size of blanks we're using, by the time it gets to where it needs to be, it's stretched out so far that it pops, and I get frustrated and say,
screw it. I'm gonna put a zip tie on.
I would just throw a zip tie on.
Zip ties are faster for us, but those work if you are able to work with them. We just apparently are very impatient when it comes to those. Tank game was called Combat. That's what I played, was that. I think there was another game, but I don't remember what it was. But I remember the tank. I remember sitting in front of that little TV that was, it's like the screen was like this big, but it was like this fat because there were the old TVs. And
old tubes.
Yeah, and the farmhouse when we were staying out there didn't have central heat or anything. So the entire house was heated by the stove or the
fireplace.
No, we didn't have a fireplace. There was a wood
stove?
The wood stove that was in the dining room area. That's where it used to be. And so it would have to travel around to the den, which is where the TV was set up. So we were always freezing every time. And we only had to stay out there a few times. There was a ghost that lived there, according to my parents. And I'm like, why are we here? But it was fun times. Not.
I'd have been screwing with him.
I never saw him. I never heard anything about him. I heard the stories. Apparently his name was Frank. When Kevin used to stay there with my grandparents for a little while, he used to apparently turn the TV off on Kevin while he was watching it. He'd be sleeping in the living room. Kevin would watch TV, he'd turn the TV off. He'd turn it back on, he'd turn the TV back off. He'd turn it back on, he'd turn the TV off, and he finally would be like, stop it, Frank, and he'd leave the TV would stay on. my grandma would wake up 5 o'clock in the morning like she always did and would smell a whole full-blown breakfast being cooked, like biscuits, like you name it all, like the whole thing. And she's like, did Bob get up, and he's like, he can't cook breakfast, what in the world? And nothing in there. That's the kind of stuff that Frank did. Well, I think that was Frank's wife, but who knows?
No telling.
Mary, you mentioned spreading the guide feet to help them sit flat. Did I misunderstand? I've been bending them where needed. Bend them where needed so that they sit flat if you need them to sit flat. Somebody took a screenshot of my guide today where I was showing where the feet were going to be sitting before I wrapped it. And the stripper on that, the feet were a little hinged up just a little bit. And I had pushed down on the frame. I had recorded it, but I cut it out of the video. But I had pushed down on the frame to kind of spread the feet out a little bit. And so, because they were like, I'm worried about the gap between the feet. And I'm like, as you wrap it, it should pull the feet down, first off. But you can always spread the frame out to get it to flatten.
And you can, I've always
bend
took
the
it
feet.
and
Smash it.
I'll hold it and I'll see where it is, and then I'll just take it and
You just bend it. Bend it to where you need it to be.
Okay.
But the little bit, it's just a little bit raised, but as you put pressure with the thread on it, it will usually pull it down anyways. But if it's a drastic where it's raised up, just bend the frame, make it flat. And if you need to bend the feet, bend the feet. It's not going to hurt it. Just bend it. Bend it. Just bend it. That's all those little things that I do, but nobody sees them because the videos when I'm recording all the process of the stuff I'm doing, like today's example, it was an 8-minute video, so I got to cut it down to a digestible thing. And I've started doing slightly longer videos than I had been. I usually been trying to do them in under a minute and a half, but now it's like, okay, if I can get it to under 3, it's usually tolerable.
right.
I try to keep in as much important information, but sometimes those little things that I'm doing, I wish I could keep it all in, but you guys would be watching like 2 hours of Mary working and cursing.
At that point, you might as well start
Might
a
as well
Twitch stream.
Might as well just do a live video.
Get people just to subscribe and watch you.
Right? Come watch me work so you can
watch you yell at the dog. Get out of the way. Go lay down. Why are you moving again? I'm not coming near you. Stop. Lay down. Why are you over here?
I told you to go away. I have to stand right where you're laying.
What do you want, child?
Yep. Why? Hello. Yep. That'd be the whole time.
Mom, I was thinking if the lizard caught a ladybug and then walk off.
Oh my God. Mind numbing sometimes. And I'm like, what?
What? You're going to finish that statement? I did.
I did. No, you didn't. I said this. No, you did not. I had to pull him into an argument one time because I was like, did he say that? Did I just not hear? He's like, no, he did not say that.
He's gaslighting you.
So much gaslighting in my life right now. It's ridiculous. Can you use metallic thread for wrapping guides? Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Do I recommend it? No.
Why?
Because it fades.
Yeah. So silver doesn't fade. Silver's great to wrap them in. But some of them, it depends on the brand of metallic.
Every brand I've used has faded. It either fades to silver or whatever the non-painted color is, or it ends up changing to a darker look, so to speak.
I've always seen it turn silver. It's like the whatever color
that was that blue.
On. Yeah, that blue straight up turned silver. But I've seen purple turn silver.
That was also an off-brand blue.
I've seen purple turn silver. I've had a bunch of people tell me that most of the colors go silver. The red would go silver,
especially if they're sitting out in the sun baking.
But different time periods, depending on how the rod is being fished, and over time, some of these colors will fade, disappear, turn silver instead of them being red, purple, blue. Those are the ones that I can speak on. But there's no reason why you can't use metallic. So as long as the customer understands that over time,
it could fade.
It could fade. It could change colors. It could do some weird stuff. Even gold will do it. And they understand, then wrap it with it. It's no big deal. I will say that with gold, the only thing with you want to make sure that you have pressure on the actual spool. So your thread,
Not the thread.
your thread carriage is putting pressure on the spool with magnets or whatever the case may be, and you're not putting pressure or tension on the actual thread as it's coming off, because otherwise it's going to strip that stencil or tinsel, and you're going to have shredded metallic. So, or use a bobbin. I don't prefer to use bobbins for guides though. That to me, they don't give me enough tension. I work with apparently a lot tighter tension when it comes to guide wraps and stuff than I do my wraps. So I don't know. Wes hates it when I'm wrapping guides.
That's why, in case you noticed, she said I started making her straighten her own guides because she wraps with so much tension. I don't want to mess with them.
I don't want the guides to come off.
They're not going to come off. They're going to be epoxied in place.
But I heard, or I read some comments online on somebody else's post, that this particular person's rod, she wrapped the guides, put epoxy on them, we took it fishing, and all of a sudden the guides are starting to wiggle.
There's a difference between not enough tension and, oh my God, babe, I can't move the size 5. I'm not doing this anymore. The big difference between that.
I was wrapping too tight. I've loosened up since then. But
I thought I was going to break that guide off that day.
I know. You made me rewrap it. You remember?
Yeah, I told I'm not moving it. Like, here.
I was learning still. I was wrapping. I thought
that was 3 years ago.
That wasn't 3 years ago. That was longer than that. I haven't wrapped a size 5 in 3 years. Are you serious?
Do not make me pull up the picture of the bass rod that you did.
Which bass rod? Don't pull. If you tell me what it looks like, you don't have to pull it up.
I don't remember what it looks like.
Well, then you have no ground to stand on. So
look here. Just because I have a man's memory versus the female brain.
That's fine. You guys know how to navigate better than I do. I'm like, do you turn left at the Hardee's? You're right. I need to know food places. You know, it's landmarks for me. Like, don't tell me the road. I've been living in this city my whole life, and I still get like 2 streets in the city mixed up. I'm like, I don't know. It's a straight one that goes past this, and he's like, that's Herlong, and I'm like, cool, Herlong. I don't remember. Don't tell me street names. I thought Wes was about to make her spray drink on the computer and short it out. Please don't. Oh, man. I already lost one computer to water. Do y'all believe that too much tension on guide wraps can cause a rod to break at the guide? That's why he was fussing at me for wrapping that.
Yes. Okay, we're going to jump into the science. When a rod blank bends, is it a circle when it bends?
No.
You're not supposed to answer for them. They're supposed to answer.
We talked about it before. John was on that podcast.
It becomes an oval.
Ovals.
The thread wrap needs to be able to move a little, not this much, but a little, so that it can oval. When you wrap it so tight that it can't oval, you now have an oval with a circle, and it goes tick. Because it's got to move. Something's got to give.
Tink.
Little tink tink is going to happen.
Little tink tink.
And poor little tink tink's going to break your rod.
Mm-hmm. Because as the rod tries to do what it's supposed to, which is bend and flex, it's not allowing it to.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's already compressed into where it's supposed to bend to. And it's like, I got nothing else to give. Tink.
It can cause it. What?
Computer.
What?
It's that. It's fine. It's not a fact. It's just they don't
what?
see that. Quit doing it. Stop. And then another thing, it's the Halloween postcard. You two looking at each other like that. The other thing that was funny today, because when I was talking about grinding the guides. And I showed that there was that one foot had a burr on it, right? And you found that burr when we were setting up the guide tray. And so I sanded it off. Another person got on my post talking about, I'm glad I'm not the only one that sands off the burrs, because she was doing a rod repair and the guide that came off had a burr underneath of it, right? And so she was talking about fixing it.
Mm-hmm.
She said that a bunch of people jumped on and was like, well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that burr. And I'm like, I literally responded, and then they wonder why the rod snaps there. It
Because
literally digs into the rod.
the oval of that blank is then going into that guide.
How many
Either here
times?
or here.
This is what I'm saying. Like, some of the people on the internet, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, if there's a burr that can cut into the blank, over time, as it starts to tippy tap,
It'll degrade the fibers. And
it's gonna go and do a number, and that's where that blank is gonna snap, and they're gonna be like, well, the blank's faulty. Nah, dude, you should have sanded the burr off the guide that you found. Like, are you serious? Like, there's some things it's not the manufacturer's fault.
they may end up covering it just to save face, because it's cheaper to save face than to tell you
you did it wrong.
Something stupid.
You did it wrong. But yeah. Anyways, I love that when we started the oval conversation, because the burr came back to point, and I'm like, sand it off. Why would you leave it there? If it can scratch you and it's sharp, what do you think it's going to do to the blank as the foot rubs against it?
Yep.
Magnets or springs for spool tension? Magnets. I love me some magnets.
Magnets.
I will say, don't ever let them slap together, because
how'd you find that out, Mary?
It wasn't me. It was the kids. The kids love to play with the magnets too. They come in here and they mess with the magnets.
Ooh, look, it'll slide towards each other.
Snapped them in half. I lost 2 sets to the kids, and I was like, "Don't come in here and touch anything anymore." And then I snapped a 3rd set. So don't let them come together. But they're fantastic. I like them so much better than the springs, personally. Maybe they think the bird digs into the blank to prevent it from moving.
Holds it in place. It can't come out.
Like the arms on a backhoe when you put them down,
Digging in, so it can't move. I shall not pass.
And it won't. It's going to break there at some point. Wait, seriously? Magnets? I thought that was an April Fool's mud hole joke. Not a fool. Not an April's fool. The magnets that they have are seriously good. You should get some of their magnets. We have, I don't know. Like I said,
I think we've gone through 5 sets because the kids broke 2. Mary broke 1.
That set can still work,
letting it drop. I've broken 2 of the magnets. Like, just don't let them get close to each other without being opposite. So
now, if they do snap together and they don't break, you can peel them apart, but they are fragile because they're magnets, and that happens to any magnet that's out there if you do it, too much. But
you let it slap together,
and it will. If your finger is close to being in between them and they go to get together, you're gonna pinch the fire out of your finger because they have a strong little tolerance. But I prefer the magnets over the springs, and if you don't have some, get some. But no, that wasn't a joke. That was legit. I did enjoy their April Fool's joke this year.
The visual.
The Oculus.
Yeah.
The simulator, the rod building simulator. Ooh. That one was pretty good. That was a pretty good one. And what was funny is we showed it to the oldest.
And he's like, oh my God, can we get that?
I said, just come in the shop.
You should send me later right here.
Just come in the shop. You got a batch rod you got to build anyways.
I'll put your safety glasses on that are like this big, and you can have at it.
Put the visor on him. Oh man, Phil definitely needs a little bit of commission off of that one, because that one's pretty funny. Ugh. Let's see. What is some other stuff that I get asked a lot?
Well, I don't know how many people are still watching. Are there any things in particular y'all want to see, be shown, learn more about? And I'm talking like more specific, not how do I build a rod, or specific things about decorating rods.
Like customizing winding checks or something.
Yeah. Ways to customize winding checks, ways to customize guides, ways to customize reel seats, grips,
different
that
ways,
type of stuff.
Different ways to make the hoods for the Unilock reel seats. Different materials that can be used for the Unilock reel seats, maybe a demo on how to do said that. Any of those little nuances that you may have questions about, this is what we're here to answer. And if you're preferring the details, like the tutorials, obviously we're always going to have some show where we're going to be chit-chatting and eventually getting back to showing some other builders work and stuff of that nature. When we get back to, we'll revisit decorative wraps, we'll revisit, because there'll be
new things that have been done.
Yeah, and people are going to put new work into it. I just always want to space those out a little bit so that I give a chance for other people to create some cool stuff to be able to be featured if they want to be featured. So that stuff will obviously always come, but need little things. Isn't the burr on the same principle as needing an underwrap on heavier rods, a wear point? Well, the burr needs to go away regardless, but yes, you need to have that underwrap.
Same concept as to why people wrap under wraps.
Yeah, you don't want the foot constantly. I mean, somebody asked me the other day, when do you not put under wraps on? Like, when do you have to use under wraps? And I'm like,
spinning rods under heavy load.
Anything that's seeing a constant downward pull, something that's going to have immense pressure put on it. You want to underwrap to help cushion the feet.
But we could dive into a whole argument series that I like to do.
Yeah, Wes wants to do.
Why do we put under wraps on casting rods when the guide feet never go into the blank? When spinning rods are constantly being bent towards the guides?
We got into a whole debate about that because it is one of those things where you're like, well, wait a minute, because the foot directly digs into the blank.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen you decorate reel seats. That is true. I don't do a whole lot of decorating reel seats because I have other people that do it for me. But we did have a show about it, showing what other people did for their reel seats. Yes. So I think that is time
we
to
could revisit that. Write that down. Don't forget it.
I did. It's right there.
Okay.
Won't let me send a picture of a specific wrap, but just trying to see if you had a video on it. I have to DM, I guess. Yeah, you can't put it in the chat. So just send me a message and I'll let you know. Guide train layouts. Tiger wraps. I know you were going to say tiger wraps. I really haven't done a whole lot with them.
We could do one on guide train layouts. And I'm probably going to upset a lot of y'all on how I do it.
Yeah, yours is unique, especially your spirals. Please discuss tension on deco wraps. I seem to have issues packing, probably too tight.
Please come to a class and play with her tension sticks.
So I can definitely do a visual of this. I have tension sticks. Obviously, like Wes said, if you can come in person to any event or something of those natures, I always have those tension sticks with me. Any
single event, if you can make it to one and she's there, they'll be there.
I always have them. I bring them every time because tension is something.
But she has explained it to people before, that semi-local, and done videos, and then those same people go, hey, I'm still having trouble with it, and they come to the expo or somewhere else, and she hands that to them, and they go, oh, okay. But it finally clicks.
Yeah. Well, it's different than me trying to explain it. Because how do I explain it? Like you're pulling it at 10 degrees at 100,
it's 10 psi of pressure on your thumbnail at a radius of 4 degrees.
Like, you can't explain it that way, And my too tight is definitely different than Wes's too tight or too loose or anything of that nature. So feeling it is definitely easier. But if you're having problems with packing, it probably is too tight. Normally, if you try to go to pack it and the thread bounces back to where it was, and you try to pack it again, the thread bounces back, it's way too tight. I'm going to tell you that right now. Now, if you try to pack it and the thread is not moving at all, it won't even shift, it's too tight. Those are telltale signs. A lot of times in those kind of wraps, the thread, you're going to be busting threads, you're going to be not able to move them, they're going to be bouncing back. They're going to be constantly causing.
Pause.
They can't hear it. It doesn't come up on the thing.
Okay.
You're going to have a lot of pain. Doesn't matter if you're using a packing tool or your fingernails or anything. You're going to have pain here and all the way up here when it starts to reach your upper arm and in this area while you're trying to push it because there's so much tension on it. That is an indicator it's too tight. You should not feel it in this upper arm. It should not be anywhere up in this part of your arm, okay? You're going to feel it here, but it shouldn't hurt. You know what I mean? Try to back off your tension a little bit. Don't do drastic swings where you're wrapping too tight and you're wrapping too loose. Try to back it off just a little. See if that helps. Anything for building a rod dryer like the one behind you. Drum dryers.
We paid somebody for that one.
We did.
I'll give you his info.
What was his name?
Or soon enough, you may be able to buy that one from us.
Yeah. We got to upgrade to something that's... Drum dryer is great. We got our dramas with it, but I would like something that's a little bit smaller and can hold more rods, if that makes sense.
Split dragon wraps.
What do you mean split dragon wraps? You talking about the ones that like spiral where there's a part where there's nothing in it, or just in the split?
Paracord wraps.
That's all you, baby. Actually, it's not. The more funner. Oh, the kids are wearing off of me. The more fun knots and stuff are my side of the aisle.
Yep. He's saying please about the guide layout, probably.
Okay.
With tension, can you measure the distance between your magnets? So we don't use the thread carriage when doing decorative wraps. So the tension he's referring to is by hand. Yeah. But the tension on the guides, yes, we could tell you, but it doesn't necessarily apply the same way every time based on which magnets you have and is their polarity the same exact amount as another set of magnets.
Yeah. If it snaps off your Lee press-on nail, it's too tight.
Pretty much.
I have found a product that seems to be great for gluing EVA. Sudal T-Rex Crystal Clear. Good. I'm glad you found something. I'm going to write it down.
Dragon with open areas in the wrap is a split dragon.
You know, that would actually be a good thing for me to do because I haven't done one. It's so funny to me. I jumped into decorative wraps. I went to EVA stuff, and then I went completely far crazy land. But I didn't do the basics, like tigers, dragon scales, marbling. Like, I didn't start with any of that. And I feel like those are the basics to building up to the crazy land where I went. Now I got to go back and do
Get back to first grade.
Get back to first grade and do, but the first grade stuff like drives me nuts. So,
well, this is more like 5th through high school.
Yeah. Well, I know why I skipped the dragon scales because we didn't have a tensioner at that time.
That would allow for metallics.
Because the tensioner we had was on our CPW and it would shred every metallic that went through it, shred it. So I never used metallic. So
there's things that have been made to fix that now.
Yeah.
But
now I've got a new thread carriage and I don't want it.
Yeah.
Australia. Let's see. Do you have another page open that you're getting posts from? I only seem to get 1 or 2 posts.
Yes. So the system we use pulls comments from Facebook and YouTube. Yeah.
So this is the reason why there hasn't been an event scheduled on Facebook anymore for the podcast. Because I'm using Restream so that I can live stream it to YouTube and also to Facebook. So you guys aren't seeing all of the conversation that's happening because it's all being filed into one chat for me. So yeah, we sound like we're talking to ourselves, but there is somebody else that we're responding to as far as comments. But the restream was so that we could reach a bigger audience because I have people that follow me on YouTube that don't follow me on Facebook and vice versa. So It was just a test run to see how it went, and so far it's going good. The only problem is when I go back to pull comments to put into the actual show, I lose them after a very short period of time. So I've had to, for the last couple of episodes, just take the comments and dump them into a Word document. But I've been pulling people's names out of it because it doesn't matter who's saying it to us. Because, I used to just copy paste everything. And then I thought, you know what? That some people might not want their name attached to the question they're asking. So I stopped doing that. But that's why, Mr. Thompson, We're talking to 2 different platforms. Write down that open dragon. Open dragon. No, I did not. Open dragon. That'll give me. I've had these ideas to also have different shapes underneath the dragons too. And I've had them for a few years. I just haven't played around with it. So that'll give me place to play with that. But it's a different completely concept than.
It's not a dragon at that point.
It is a dragon.
Nope. Dragon has scales.
Yeah.
Why it's called a dragon.
It's more like, well, whatever.
Stop it. You ain't got to it yet. Hush.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
You know, there's people that watch that
I know.
pay attention to everything
I know.
we do.
I know. Always somebody running their mouth. The cool kids club. That's what I'm just. I let that kind of stuff just roll off now. It used to bother me. Now I got a heart that's the color of my shirt.
I just look at them and say, don't talk about it, be about it.
Right. Different shaped scales. Play around with different sizes of them. Well, good. I also will be introducing you guys into metal inlays too soon.
You're going to have to.
I have to practice that before I go to Mudhole.
Speaking of, did he decide?
What about you?
Yeah.
I haven't heard back.
I need to know what I'm doing.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I don't even remember what I told him.
I have it written down. My notebooks are super important to me.
Oh, yeah, leather or fly. Right?
I'm doing metal inlays, specifically talking about taper offset spacing and something with decorative wraps. And you're doing leather grips stacked, but may also fill in for
Epoxy.
Yeah, high speed epoxy.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would lace under metallic create different shape patterns? So it depends on it depends on how thick your lace is. So the reason why dragon scales work is the depth difference, right? You would have better luck, and I maybe, well, I don't care. I like to share the ideas I have in my head because I want somebody to do them because I don't have enough time for them. You would have better luck putting lace down on the rod, getting it stuck on there, however you're going to do it, probably CP, and then coming back with mica powder over top of it, or gold leaf over top of it, and
so it could fill the cavities
and make it either fill the cavities or just putting on the lace itself, so that you can actually get the true aesthetic benefit of going through all the work of putting the lace underneath of it. Otherwise, wrapping it with metallic could, I'm not saying it would, but it could compress the lace so much that you would lose it and you wouldn't get any of the details from the lace. So,
and if you don't wrap it tight enough, it's not going to show anyways.
So if you had a thicker lace, like a wide one,
or
then,
metal lace,
yeah, that would be aggravating to work with. But try it, see what happens. Or I don't know, take the lace, paint it, and then you've got a flat thing on there that has a print of the lace, and then just cover over it with epoxy. Talk to me too long, I'll have you doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Filigree too.
You could use the stickers like I did on the what did I call that rod? The white one that I built for iCast as a giveaway, the white ghost. I used those were stickers. It was little
metal stickers.
They weren't metal, they were just stickers that looked like filigree that you could find in the book, when they make the books. Scrapbook section. They don't have them anymore. That brand is gone. I didn't realize that. I should have bought the silver ones.
Bought every one of them.
I should have bought the silver or the gold ones whenever they were there, but I didn't think about it. And now that same sticker sheet that I used, which was like $1 or $2 back then, maybe $3, is now like $7 or $8 because they don't make them anymore. I have no lace interest, just throwing out ideas. Oh, so that's for me to play with. Okay, great, John. You make my brain.
Congrats, you extended her backlog another month.
I like this though. Like I have so many. I saw somebody doing stained glass the other day, and I thought, how cool would it be if we could do a stained glass handle?
You could.
I know exactly how to do it. I just have to get Mark to do my cylinder for me since he has the pressure pots and stuff. Like, how cool would it be to have a stain? And like, you wouldn't feel the difference in it the way
No,
I
you'd
would
still
plan on
feel the
doing it.
same.
It'd just be a clear.
I was thinking of another way of doing it that wouldn't require a pressure pot. Would not require a pressure pot.
Are you going to share it or are you going to keep it to yourself?
Off camera.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not nice.
Think metal inlays.
No, I want to see the paint from the reflect through it, if that makes sense. Kind of like a kaleidoscope on the inside of it.
You still would.
Are you going to be at Gulf Shores? That's the goal. I gotta get a room.
I've only been reminding her the entire week to take care of that.
No, you haven't. Not this week. Last week. Not this week. This week's different. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. You did not say anything to me about it this week. You said last week, but I'm writing it down. But yes, we are planning on being there. That is the goal.
We're also planning to take the kids out of school for it.
Yep. Now that they don't have to be pulled out in October. I need to write this down before I forget it. Now that I put it out there. Yeah. Book the room. Okay, that's a pretty good chunk of stuff. Revisiting, decorating real seats, I think is a good one. There has been a bunch of people in Southern that were doing some awesome stuff. The most that we did for decorating real seats was always had friends involved in it. It was Butterfinger. Mark cut the real seat for me, he cast Butterfinger pieces in the wrapper on the insert. We put it back together and that was the real seat. And Wes has done another one where he cut the real seat apart and put leather where the real seat was so that he could put different images on that. And that's really the extent of our real seat work as far as modifying the real seats
that we've done. Everything else is, hey Don, can you paint this on here?
Paint it on here.
What size does it need to be? Yeah, we could.
Here's the real seat.
We could go with that size. Cool. Let me know how much.
That's pretty much it. I haven't really messed around with the real seats, and I think it's because I spend so much time on the grips and the wraps that I just don't have enough labor or money in the funds left to be able to play into that area. And I also like to tone down my stuff. I know some people like to call my work tacky and too bright, and I need to rein my customers into a not me made fun of while they're fishing side, but they're not tacky. They are bright, they are loud, and they are completely different. But it's what the customer wants. We're custom rod builders. I build for customers the way that they want their stuff done. But I have a tendency to take sections of the rods and try to tame down the loudness that is going on, and the real seat happens to be one of those that I just kind of let it be.
And because when we build it around a reel as well.
Yeah.
So most of the time when you see this rod, you're not going to see the real seat.
Yeah.
Granted, we don't want it to just stick out like a sore thumb.
It blends.
But it hides away unseen because the reel's going to be there and it ties everything else together.
Yeah, because a lot of times when customers are like, hey, I'm getting this custom reel for it too. Like these are people that they care what their stuff looks like and they're getting a matching set. So everything is taken notice of and everything is blended.
All the P's and Q's are dotted and crossed.
And everything blends. It blends. Ever done anything with cane or bamboo? I cut some, but it's taking forever to dry. Not me. I've never messed with cane or bamboo. That is completely a league maybe 4 leagues ahead of where I'm at. I have not done that. If you want to reach out to HFF, they took a class making their own bamboo rods.
They took the oyster class.
Yeah. That was last year, I think, when he did it.
Mm-hmm.
You should ask him.
Or
ask Joe.
I mean, honestly, for the amount of information and what you walk away from by taking the oyster class, it pays for itself.
Yeah.
It is not cheap by any means,
it's not cheap.
but neither are his rods. No. And you walk away
made a rod
with one of his rods that you built.
Yeah, you make it.
So
make it while you're there. You learn a lot of stuff, but that is way above my pay grade, and able to process the knowledge to be able to learn that skill at this point in time.
I will take that class someday, but it won't be while we have 2 snatching goblins.
What was the guy's name that did the laser engraving on real seats? Ryan Strunk. When it's Strunk. He did cool stuff. Yeah, he did. Is he still in business? I haven't seen anything from him. He was doing some really cool laser engravings on real seats. I haven't seen anything from him. Now, it doesn't mean he's not still in business. And if you are, I'm sorry, Ryan. I just haven't seen you around at all anywhere. But yeah, laser engraving on real seats is a very, very cool thing to add to the repertoire if you can afford the laser, or there's other people that have them that can do it as well. I think the biggest challenge for me is trying to find the right ring size for the guide train. I've gone way too far down the rabbit hole to try to get it to be a perfect curve.
Pick a size that you like to wrap and don't want to go smaller, and don't go smaller than that.
Unless the rod needs it. It is... I mean, I don't wrap below 5s, and 5s are tiny.
We don't use below 5s.
But when it comes to surf rods,
it's 10s and 12s.
Yeah. Unless it's inshore.
But most of our bass rods,
5s. I don't do micro guides.
We don't.
I do not do micro guides.
5s, because I'm of the philosophy of I want it to be able to pass knots and be able to fish in winter if they want to.
Yeah. Because that's what the ring size, you got to think about all the logistics of what could possibly pass through the ring, not just the line. The knots have got to be able to go through it. The weather, if you're fishing in the sea, you got to deal with the crap that it catches as well. Like you got to think about all the logistics of that, and you want to get it tamed. I think that but you don't have to go to the tiniest one to get it tamed. You have to get, and Wes will tell you his preferred method is whatever the tip ring size is, that the guides are matching the tip ring. It's not going to a smaller tip, or he'll go to a bigger tip sometimes, depending on
the style of guide versus the style of frame for the tip. Because I don't want the tip, when you're looking at it, to have a drop off, even though it's the same size.
Yeah.
I want it to be level. But if I have to go up a size in the tip to get it level with the last guide, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But that's also better for knot clearance, because if that tip is dropped down, granted, most of this is casting rods most of the time that I'm doing this. You're pulling, and now it's even lower than the other one. But on spinning rods, it's the opposite. It's a lot of science and math, and
that's why he picks out the guide trains. I'm gonna be honest. That's my components guy over there.
And just thinking about how is this going to work?
Because
will this work in every situation this guy's going to throw at it?
And I'm sure our customers get annoyed with us. We ask so many questions about what they're throwing, what they're using for bait, what they're doing with this, yada, yada. Worst case scenario, what's happening, best case scenario, what's happening. We ask so many details because if we're going to build this rod, we want it to function for all of the things, Not
it's like the blank that we have to source, mostly half-ounce blank.
Oh, God.
Half-ounce lures. But occasionally I'm going to throw a 4-ounce swim bait.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Cool. I'll find you one, but don't be throwing 4-ounce all the time.
So John said this Florida boy had to change out the guides on a steelhead rod for Pennsylvania because they didn't know about icing. We don't build steelhead rods.
We won't.
We have a bunch of people that ask us to, and we're like, no. I send them to I sent him to a friend up there that does that. That's her business. And I'm like, nope, go see her. Because it's not my repertoire.
That's something you also have to think about is, okay, yes, this customer, say they live in Texas. Are they going to keep this rod in Texas all year round?
Or is it going somewhere else?
Or and it's something where you can't ask, hey, are you going to take this into ice situations where I need to worry about if this knot is going to pass those? No. Ask them, do you travel to fish?
Too many words and didn't read. Do you
A
travel?
simple question. Are you going to travel and fish with this rod? Yes. Cool. Think of ice.
Where are you traveling to?
Doesn't matter. Think of ice.
Yeah, just in case. Let's put some rings that can handle some ice. Because that's worst case scenario. They get, you're fishing while they're ice. But we don't build steelhead like at all. I send them to Abby. I'm like, go talk to her. That's her cup of tea. If I don't fish it, I don't want to build it. And that's kind of how I am about it. Like, yes, could I do a guide train for that? Could I build it? Yeah, we could, but
I don't want
to do it. There's other people that do it and do phenomenal jobs. I've sent probably 50, 60 different customers over the last year away to a builder that's where you need to go, because that's their specialty. I know their work. I know them. They're good. And the builders are always like, they're confused. And I'm like, I don't build them. Those aren't I do surf, bass, fly. That's my thing. I don't want to build steelhead rods. I don't want to build whatever, that's what you do. Why would I not put them to the person that's an expert in that? That's like somebody coming to me and go, can you build an ice rod? Yeah, I can build it, but I'm not going to.
I don't want to.
I'm going to send you up here to this guy who does that for a living. That's what he builds. And
we've got ice blanks sitting over here
for me to play around with, just for fun, because Wade said you need to experience wrapping a guide on an ice rod, and I was like, I don't want to. But he sent them home anyways, and they're there for when I have time and feel like really just aggravating the shit out of myself, apparently. But we got them. Got some fly rods or ice rods.
This one's even got a flat tip.
For the guys that build these, I don't know how you do it, because watching the noodle bend at the tip, trying to wrap a guide on that, there's some things about rod building that make me lose my mind, and that right there would probably make me lose my mind.
Wrapping a flat rod.
I just couldn't do it. It was pro bono for a childhood friend. I get it, but for me personally, I'd be like, I'd do it in that situation too. I'd build a rod for somebody like that, but if a customer comes to me and I'm like, I'm going to send you to the person I know that's going to do this best. If it's not me. You ever want to go get some tuna? Call me. Boat. Surf.
Bass and fly.
We got you.
That's all I want to do. And I don't want to do bass.
The bass, it's been funny because the bass guys are, it's not where the money's at normally, but we've had some ballers come in with some really cool, and I don't say ballers because they spent like a ton of money, but like they spent way more than the average bass guy would be willing to spend on it for customized rods. And these guys come in wanting the works done on them, and I'm like, hey, that's like this amount, and I'm so used to bass guys like just chewing you out because of the price, and they're like, cool, where do I send the money? And I'm like, okay, you're a special one, cool, I got it, and you give them the rod after you get finished with it, and they're just the most appreciative, just love it, just so excited about it. But most of the bass rod community is very
performance driven.
Yeah, when I build bass rods,
and that's fine.
A lot of guys chew me out about adding too much weight, and I'm like, it's balanced, so it doesn't matter.
You realize you don't hold this rod all day,
right?
You look at it whilst drinking a beer, sitting in a chair.
You just look at it. You're not casting it.
You never pick it up. It sits in the gunnel right there.
Just hanging out.
With a $3,000 reel sitting on it.
I mean, obviously, if it is, depending on the fishing style or whatever, sometimes you are casting a lot, but like, come on, man. Stop. But
it sits there and looks pretty.
I'm so pretty and pretty and fishy. That's not for fishing. That's a Harry Potter one.
Feels like it too. I usually pull it out when the kids get out of line because it is flat on the tip.
It is flat. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, having a flat tip. Like, just straight up flat, but I want to light one up. I should put the neon light in that and try the rapid spell.
You should get those little finger lights that they just got before the batteries go bad.
Oh, see if it'll light it up. Yeah, because then I can order more. I need to try it on that other rod that I bought the stuff for. I've got like 10 rods over here with certain projects in mind, and I just can't get to them. I've got one. I'm going to build one that's going to be a lightsaber. It's going to light up. I just don't know when that's going to happen. All right, guys, it has been a eventful night. You guys have given us a lot of great ideas and a lot of things to look forward to doing in the future, and I'm very excited about it, and I appreciate all the questions and conversations that we had tonight. Like I said, if you think of something later in the post, and you're watching this after I put it out later on the post-production, I think is the correct way to say that, just put it in the comments. You know, like, always looking for suggestions of things that you guys want to learn, you want to see, you want to talk about, you want to discuss.
Even if it's something we need to learn to be able to teach.
Because I love learning. I don't know if anybody's picked up on that, but I love learning. I love teaching myself new things because it's fun to challenge myself to do new things. And in doing new things means I have to put myself out of my comfort box, which means that I get to remember what it's like to be the beginner learning how to do those things, because you know, you get used to making grips, you get used to doing decorative wraps, but I've done a really good job of just kind of making sure that I always remember all of the questions I had and the tribulations and the basically being scared to try it, so that I can continue to keep teaching it in a way that everybody understands it. And I think that's always been super important to me. So making me go back and do a dragon scale, or making me do a tiger wrap, or making me do marbling when I have never tried it before, thank you, Bill Falconer, puts me in that position over and over again. And so I feel like it makes me a better teacher overall, because yes, we're sharing this the same experience at the same time, because I'm messing it up, you know. So I look forward to doing all of these things that we mentioned tonight. And I've got the list running, and if you think of anything, put it in the comments. I'm happy to work it into the show. I mean, I feel like decorating rods or adding small little personalizations to rods is endless, but it also depends on the community as a whole as to what they're interested in and what they're willing to learn, as to whether or not it is something that is worth exploring for y'all to see, not for me. I'm always willing to try all the craziness that comes through my head. Because then it creates other craziness that expands into something that actually lands on the rod. And Wes will tell you that some of my science experiments, if you will, start on one thing and they kind of progress into something that finally lands on the rod, and the journey in between is fun. But
or they get put in the corner for 6 months and told they're being bad and never picked up again.
But I always have notes on them, so that if I ever feel like I'm on a whim and I see them again and I'm like, I remember you, I can pick them back up where I left off and move forward with them. So I do enjoy rod building. I find it fun. Being a public kind of persona is very tiresome sometimes, with all the random negativity that pops into it. But at the end of the day, every aggravating person that I have to deal with, or just listen to the rantings of a ignorant donkey, if you will, is worth it, because of the 100% support that is from the community and then overall. And I'm here for the fun of it. I'm here to teach, and I'm here because I love what I do. And I will continue to keep learning and doing stuff and being questioned and all that stuff, because I enjoy this, and that's what what it boils down to at the end of the day. I have fun doing what I do. And if you like it, awesome. If you don't, cool. You know, everything I do is definitely not everybody's cup of tea. And that's fine. I just like to keep my options open and ever expanding, because as a teacher, I feel like you definitely should always be learning something so you can continue to keep teaching and not become irrelevant. You know, there's only so many different ways to teach how to do a wrap. You know what I mean? So with that being said, thank you guys. We appreciate it. And we're going to wrap this up and head out because now we're getting to where I will have to start cutting this down. And it's been about 2 hours. Don't forget that if you order anything from Mudhole to use my new discount code WRAP10, WRAP10. It'll get you 10% off of anything that is American Taco, Gaho, Real Seats that we talked about tonight, CRB, Pro Products, and MHX. And also continue to keep checking the new product sections that they have on the main page of Mudhole because there's a lot of really cool new products that are coming out all the time. And we will talk to you later. Bye.
Toodles. You want to answer them?
Yeah, I'm going to answer them. I just had to do that to wrap it up so we're not leaving.
That way we can edit.
Yeah, that's just easy to edit. Cut it off so it's one clean swoop. They make clear blanks. Yeah. There's a lot of people that make clear blanks, actually. Look that room saying CO and Bama. Yes, sir, John. I have it written down. It's highlighted. Can you do an episode where Alice is the host with... No, because Alice couldn't focus.
What, where like she dresses up as Alice?
No. Thank y'all for taking the time and effort to put out these videos and putting up with the naysayers. You're welcome, John. Thank you, Wes and Mary. You're welcome, Greg. Thank you for the stream. You're welcome. I don't really know what you mean about Alice. Alice is always here, half brain, every time I'm here.
You realize that this show started because of Alice, right?
This was Alice's idea to do the podcast. Podcast that turned into basically the live show because I don't put it out as a podcast listen only anymore because when we started doing the demos and the videos or the pictures, it made no sense to try to explain this to people listening to it and not seeing what we were doing. So I pulled all the podcast stuff down and just went straight to YouTube.
Still a podcast, just not
It's a visual podcast.
audio.
The visual podcast, if you will. So, all right, guys. Now we're leaving.